because a lot of people out here, well, I understand like the mindset of being held back, and I know especially with the verdict with Breonna Taylor, a lot of people are deflated. Seeing what happened in George Floyd, and just seeing that, although we may be separate in the country, you still have legislation, you still have laws and things that are systemically against Black people. So what is your take on the whole Breonna Taylor situation? And with some words of encouragement to help, how do we get past this hurt, and how do we correct what's going on to Black people in America today?
My thoughts on it, of course, is that it's unjust. I was reading up on a story, and I actually just did an interview the other day, well, yesterday, with a lawyer who kind of broke down the details. So I don't know all the legal details like that. Y'all can go check out my channel. I interviewed the brother about that. But I think that is unjust. Even when they went into the actual apartment, they didn't find any guns. They didn't find, well, they didn't, well, he had a gun, but they didn't find any drugs. I mean,
Right.
They didn't find any drugs on her. She didn't even have a history of it. Her ex-boyfriend was the one, who they was looking for. And I believe that if a man can be charged with shooting and hitting a wall, why can't this same thing happen for shooting a woman who was there in her home, and she obviously wasn't doing anything wrong, and she didn't have what they was looking for. And as far as the encouragement, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that adversity is the mother of creativity. So yes, many people are grieving. Yes, we are tired of this situation, but I think this is more fuel to the reason why we should think about separating and doing something for ourselves. I think this is more fuel for why we should now stop killing each other as well. Now we should stop looking at each other as an enemy and see that we do have a natural enemy. Because you talked about law setup. We ain't talking about just some beasts because you owe me some money or you stole some drugs. I'm talking about they have laws that has been against our people for decades at a time. And so now I think this is the reason why we should now look in the mirror and say, what can we do to avoid these type of situations? Can we get together in a gated community to where we don't have to always be calling for the police? Now we can call on ourselves because you have now people who are rising up as organizations and groups who want to protect the Black community. But I feel like a lot of times in our community, we are reactive. We wait till somebody is harmed, then we want to come out. We wait till somebody is harmed, then we want to start a program. But the word protect literally means to keep away from harm. So if you're keeping it away from harm, this is meaning that you're proactive. This means you going door to door. This means you talking to the youth and you're talking to their mindset. Because if we can change their mindset, then we can change a lot of things that's going on in our community. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said our righteousness will sustain us. So a lot of these situations are unjust, but our righteousness will sustain us. So if we clean up our lives a little bit more, not that it's justifying anything that they did, but if we move different, a little bit more intelligently, then I believe we can avoid a lot of these situations that we've been seeing.
So LeBron made a statement after the verdict was made with Breonna that the Black woman is the most unprotected being on the planet Earth. How do you feel about that statement that LeBron, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't know if that's an exact quote, but it's pretty close.
I don't know. I have two different thoughts about that because we always push that narrative, and I don't think that we push the protection enough. It's almost like we say is when we say nobody has a business. No Black people got businesses. We ain't got nothing. We don't own nothing in our community. And I think that is false because I've seen it. I'm a brother who's a part of that, who owns. And I think in our community, we push the negative too much and the positive, although I understand it. But I think it's kind of hard to determine or even notice the ones who's being protected because they're being protected. So when you have a man who's able to bust his butt so that his woman is not in a condition or a situation to where she can even get into it with somebody, that's protection. Because you got some brothers who say, yeah, that sister going to have to get 50% of the rent. Now you also want her to go get 50% of the rent and come home, cook and clean and take care of the children. And now that she has been out, maybe she was being talked to with an attitude. She brings that attitude home to the children. Now she doesn't have energy to give to your seed, give to your children. That's kind of difficult for her, because that's 2 jobs. And then you get to go, go to work, and then you come home and, now you expecting these things from her. See, if you're allowing her to stay at home, if that's what she wants to do and remain in peace, that's protection. So like, for example, in Chicago or Detroit or New York, wherever they got these large crime rates, we always say, man, we had 300 people die this year. 400 people die this year. Now, if one person dies, that's one too many. I do understand that. But when I look up the stats and the amount of black people that's in these cities, I'm looking at 1 million. I'm looking at 2 million. Why don't we say what happened and what's going on to keep all of the 700,000 other of our people not killing each other? It's because they got good parents. It's because they got good influence. It's because brothers got programs and there was influence to do something good. We never shout that out. But as soon as a brother get killed, we say all we do is kill each other. But damn, a brother got a whole program. He got 50-some children in there, and he's changing their lives. And when you change one little brother, you may be changing the lives of 10. You may be changing the lives of 25. Why do I say that? Because that same brother could have did a drive-by and killed 5 people.
True.
That same brother could have had a whole sex trafficking little play going and messing off a whole bunch of women mindsets. But because you was able to reach them at a young age, or you was able to reach them at an older age and change their mind, sure, you able to save a lot of people in that process. So I get it. The black woman has been last place a lot in this country. She wasn't even able to vote at one time. But I think now, I think a lot of brothers are seeing the value of the woman. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, a nation rises no higher than its woman. The minister said, in fact, shoot, whenever you disrespect a man, you disrespecting the individual. But when you disrespect a woman, you're disrespecting a nation, because through her womb, she's going to give birth to the nation. Any great man that we see, any great woman that we see, we know that they came through the womb of a woman. She is the second self of God. Her womb is God's workshop. She's the co-creator. Now she's going through the pain of death to bring us into existence. So I get what the brother's saying. I've seen that quote online, but I also have seen many brothers start to call our sisters queens. I've also seen a lot of our people start to respect her. And I'm also seeing a lot of men, not a lot, but I'm also seeing a lot of men getting back to valuing the woman being able to raise the children up on their own, being able to teach them knowledge itself so they're not going to schools learning from people who you calling the enemy anyway, and allowing her to have peace so that when you come home after fighting this world, you can come home into peace, versus her going out into the world and she's going through this war, and then y'all both come home and ain't none of y'all peaceful. Now y'all arguing with each other over money. Now y'all arguing with each other because both of y'all are tired. So I get it, but then I also would love for us to push the other side as well, because there's so many men who are sacrificing every day, and it would be disingenuous of me to not also talk about all of the brothers who are protecting their women, but you just can't see them again because they are being protected.